Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sandra, and today I'll be talking about chapter 5 from reading the Bible with the Founding Fathers, called What Does God Require of Us? And the answer, just to put it up front, both now and 250 years ago, was to act justly and love mercy and to walk humbly with our God. Micah 6:8. The four sources that I'll be referencing during this video are Daniel Dreisbach's book, Reading the Bible with Our Founding Fathers, also one of his other articles called Micah 6:8 in the Literature of the American Founding, a Note on Religion and Rhetoric, Stephen Gimbler, a review that he did of a relevant book, and another review by Gary Glenn. Pretty much during this chapter, just to sum it up, Dreisbach argues that the Founding Fathers were largely influenced by the Bible, which is shown through both their personal writings and public writings and speeches. But not only this, but they thought that God had a special plan for America. This isn't just a reflection of the time, but he notes how one political scientist, Donald S. Lutz, did a study, and he concluded that between 1760 and 1805, the Bible was cited in American literature more frequently than any European writers or political school of thought, which shows how unique this was to America. His main argument behind this chapter revolves around Micah 6:8, the one that I just quoted, and he shows how common using the Bible and how instilled this was in all of the founders through a number of references. First, John Winthrop used this verse before they even landed in the New World, when they were still on the ship in 1630. He said, "We shall find that the God of Israel is among us. We shall be a city upon a hill. We shall be made a story and a byword through the world." Secondly, George Duffield, who was a chaplain for the Continental Congress, used this verse in 1783. He said, "Then shall God delight to dwell amongst us, and these United States shall long remain a great, a glorious, and a happy people." George Washington also cited the same verse in 1783. Thomas Paine paraphrased it in 1794, and then John Adams referenced it in a letter to his daughter in 1820. These 5 examples are just 5 very particular ones, but he's just showing how ingrained biblical thought and biblical literature was in American minds during that time, especially the Founding Fathers. He also talks a little bit about the uniqueness of the situation. The American founding put the fathers in a unique situation where they could choose moving forward what direction to take the country with. And they were posed with the question, how do we establish and enforce social order? They wanted to break away from discipline and enforcing it harshly, and they thought that they could use religion as a moral guide. One of the quotes from this was, "A nation must be virtuous and righteous if it is to be stable, prosperous, and tranquil." This just shows that they wanted to build a strong nation with a moral foundation based in biblical principles. One other author, Gary Glenn, concluded that religion made 3 distinctive contributions to the founding. First, it taught that a dignity of a man was because he was created in the divine image. This gave each and every man more dignity than generally was thought of in societies before this. Second, provided inspiration to the revolution in a way that no other source could. And then thirdly, inspired religious liberty. Moving on to today, we all know that there's a lot of modern attacks against the idea of a Christian founding of our nation. But through this chapter, we see that despite individual religious failings or individuals dissenting, such as Thomas Jefferson or Benjamin Franklin, who are often cited to be deist, despite this, that the Bible was ingrained and Christian principles were ingrained in the American society. As Stephen Gimbler said, regardless of what they may have professed individually, the founders used the Bible as a guide and reference to shape both their rhetoric and their vision of the nation. So despite individual examples, the Bible and Christian principles have been ingrained in our society from the beginning. I think this is very important today, especially in today's political instability that's going on. The answer to this question, what must we do, is the same today as it was then. We must act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with our God. Thank you.